What we saw there was a prime example of a physical effect of hitting the wall. She led a marathon for 26 miles, and then the wall hit. And it literally took her knees out. And she ended up crawling to finish this marathon. The wall stopped her in her tracks. Just want to give you a little bit of an illustration of what that wall is, and I'll tell a quick story. In high school, being in athletics, you worked every event at my school. If there was an event happening at the high school, you worked it, and that just what happens. And if you didn't, you usually had punishment when you got back to school the next day. I don't know about you. I was a big kid in high school. I didn't want to run, so I was at every event. So, yeah, you can laugh at me. It's okay. I understand. So it was a powerlifting meet, and I was spotting a girl that was squatting. Everybody knows what a squat is. So this girl has some weight on the bar. She's probably got about 315 pounds on it, and she's a pretty strong girl. As she's getting ready to squat, she gets her stance. She gets the bar on her back. She's getting ready to go, and she starts to squat, and she's going down, 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 and she gets to the point where she starts to come up. As she's getting to come up, the wall hits, and she literally falls back. There's 315 pounds coming at my direction along with a human life. Wow, that was a wall. Her physical body could not go anymore with that weight. She stopped, she couldn't go. Her physical self said, enough. Not happening. But the wall is so simple, but it's also so complex. It's kind of like how girls are. I thought, for the longest time, I thought I had my wife figured out. I thought, you know what, I've got her, I know what she likes, I know her favorite foods, I know everything about her. I just know her. We've been married for 2 years now, we dated, we've been together for 7, we got our first child on the way. It's awesome, and I think I know her. And then all of a sudden, the next day happens, and I'm like, whoa, you're not so simple anymore. Stuff's changing. The wall is complex and simple at the same time. So, some of you are probably thinking, what on earth is this having to do with the Bible? Well, we're fixing to get into our lesson, and it's in Joshua 6, and we're going to go into a story. Our story tonight involves an army. This army is sent into battle by their commander, but here's the trick. Their commander said, put down your weapons, pick up some horns, then go to battle. Their commander sent them into battle without any weapons. That doesn't make sense. I don't know about you, but if a leader or someone tells me to do something and it sounds that crazy, I'm going to question it. You want me to do what? You want me to go somewhere where the enemy is going to try to hurt me, and you don't want me to bring anything to protect myself? That doesn't make sense. So if you would, let's go to Joshua 6, verses 1 and 2. And we're going to pick up here. And it's on the screen for those who didn't bring their Bibles. We pick up with Joshua leading the Israelites on their continued march to the Promised Land. So Joshua's leading these people. Guys, the Israelites are tired at this point. They've been walking for a really long time. They're weary, they're exhausted. Some of them are just dirty, they're gross, kind of like most of the campers here. And it is just nasty. And Joshua said, hey, come on, we got to keep going. And the next checkpoint, if you will, for those who like games, and checkpoints were always my favorite because I usually go pee during the checkpoint time. So the next checkpoint that they get to is a town called Jericho. Well, Jericho is an important town to them because Jericho is standing in the way of the Israelites and their promise. Guys, I don't know about you, but God promises a lot of things, and listen. God keeps his promises. Amen. It's so cool. So Jericho is their next stop. And let's pick up in verse 1, okay? Now Jericho was straightly shut up because of the children of Israel. None went out and none came in. Verse 2. And the Lord, this is huge. This is Joshua is fixing to observe God talking to him. Joshua is fixing to observe the word of God. Just like we're doing right now. We're observing what God is fixing to say. Verse 2 again. And the Lord said, wow, I love saying that. And the Lord said unto Joshua, see, I have given into thine hand Jericho, and the king thereof, and the mighty men of valor. Let's see. God says, hey, this is yours. But, okay, God says this is yours. That's cool. All right, God, thanks for telling me that. But Jericho was not like any other city. Jericho was one of the most fortified, that's a big fancy word for some of you. Jericho was one of the most well-protected cities in the world at this time. Let me explain. Jericho had a really good defense system. On the outskirts of their town, they had a wall. They really have two walls, but on the outskirts of their city, they had a wall. This wall was roughly, give or take, about 32 feet high. Roughly 32 feet, guys. I'm 6 foot. If you just want a visual representation, so it's about like 6 of me, 5.5 of me stacked high, and it was about 6 foot wide. So if I laid down, I would be that width. So the first wall of Jericho was roughly 32 feet, something like that, and about 6 foot wide. If an enemy was lucky enough to get past the first wall, they had to go up a hill. And this is not just your average hill walking up to like the zip line and where we did the water balloon fight today. This was a hill. This was not some little, like I can ride my bike down and get some really good speed. This was like, get your hiking boots with spikes on it and with a hammer and something to help you grab on this stuff. This was massive. And once you got, if you were able to get past that, there was another wall. It was about 15 foot tall. Jericho was not playing any games at all. And on top of that, there was archers and people with weapons ready just to look down at you and take you out. Jericho was the real deal. But God says it is yours. And when God says something, guys, God means it. And in verses, we're going to go to verse 3 and 5, and we're going to see what else God tells Joshua to do. Because he kind of leaves him as, hey, this is going to be yours. Let's see what else it says. Verse 3 through 5. In verse 3, and ye shall compass the city, or ye shall surround the city, all you men of war, and go around about the city once. Thus shall you do 6 days. Pretty simple. God says, hey, surround the city. Go around it, walk around it one time. You're going to do this for 6 days. Verse 4. And 7 priests shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets of ram's horns, and the 7th day he shall compass the city 7 times, and the priests shall blow with the trumpets. So God says, in fact, priests are only going to bring in the ark and horns. No weapons at all. And on the 7th day, this is important, on the 7th day, you're going to walk around it 7 times. I'm tired just thinking about all that walking. Verse 5. And it shall come to pass that when they make a long blast of the ram's horn, and when you hear the sound of the trumpets, all the people are going to shout with a great shout, and the wall of the city shall fall down flat, and the people shall ascend up, every man straight before him. God kind of lines out everything. But what we need to notice here is that when Joshua was observing everything, he was observing God's word, just like you've been observing God's word. He was left with a choice, just like many of us are left with a choice today. I know what God's telling me. I know God says I need to know him. I know God says he loves me. I know God says that I'm bought with a price. I know God says that I'm worth it. I'm worth more than rubies to him. Now I have a choice: to obey him and believe this, or to do what I want to do. Joshua, he's the commander of an army. He knows that there's no way, logically, to go into battle with no weapons and win. He knows this, just like we know, logically, that you're worth something. So Joshua's left with a choice to do what God says, do the right thing, or do the wrong thing. The world today, guys, wants to make it seem like you can have multiple choices and multiple things, and that there's a gray area where it can be kind of right, kind of wrong. No! There's right, and there's wrong. There's doing what God says, and there's doing what the world says. There's not an in-between. It is black, and it is white. Joshua's left with a choice. Guys, living a life that you said, God, I want to live for you, you're going to be vulnerable. That is scary. Vulnerable is this. Vulnerable is saying, Okay, Tiffany. Tiffany's my wife. Okay, Tiffany. Here I am at my worst. Here I am broken. Here I am without a chance to stand on my feet, and I'm tired and I can't do it. Will you take me as I am? Guys, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be vulnerable in front of God. It's okay to come to God at this altar, at your seat, at any point and say, God, I'm mad that my life is in shambles. It's okay to say, God, I don't understand. God, this doesn't make sense. You're asking me to go into war with no weapons. You're asking me to live a life where I'm going to be made fun of, where my parents might disown me, where my family won't talk to me, where friends are going to make fun of me. But God, I don't get it. God says, my ways are higher than your ways. My thoughts are higher than your thoughts. I have a plan, and it's a perfect plan, and I have an expected end for you. God, that doesn't make sense. You're left with a choice to do what God says, what the world says. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay. It's so okay. So we're going to go down to verse 16. Okay, we're going to go down to 16. As you're getting there, guys, listen to me. Listen. God brings you to a wall. God brings you to a place in your life to where you have to make a decision. And tonight you're going to make a decision. God's bringing you to a wall in your life. Maybe as I'm talking, you're thinking, what's my wall? Is it forgiving that parent that's wronged you? Is it forgiving that person who you thought, wow, they're never going to hurt me, they hurt you? Is it trusting? Is it trusting? Guys, we have so many trust issues nowadays. We're so quick not to trust people. Wow, is it believing that you're worth it? There's so many of you young people today that are contemplating taking your life because you feel like death is a better opportunity than life. What's your wall? God brings us to that, guys. So as we get to this and you get to your wall, most of you are going to try to fight your way. Most of you are going to try to crawl, you're going to try to fight, you're going to try to run, you're going to do everything you can until the wall finally strikes you back and you can't do anything. And you're going to crawl and you're going to beg and you're going to think you got this, but you can't do anything unless God's with you. We get to day 7 of Joshua and his Israelites. And it came to pass, verse 16, and it came to pass, I'll read it from there. And it came to pass at the 7th time, when the priests blew the trumpets, Joshua said to his people, shout, for the Lord has given you the city. But hold on. It's day 7. They've done this for 6 days. Some of you have been fighting this battle for 9 years. Some of you have been fighting against your wall for 10 years. Some of you have been fighting your wall for 12 years, 6 years, 5 years, however old you are. You've been fighting, and you're finally like, God, I don't know if I can handle this. I don't know if I've got any more left in the tank. This wall is really hurting me. This is day 7, guys. There had to be anxiety. There had to be something just wearing them out. So they get to lap 1. Nothing happens. You try to fight, nothing happens. Lap 2, nothing happens. Lap 3, nothing happens. Guys, we do everything we can. We throw the kitchen sink at your wall. You think you're tough. I thought as a man, as a young man, I thought it was weak to show emotion. I thought it was weak to admit that I am broken. I thought it was weak to tell someone, hey, I need you to come in my life. I need you to stand by my side. I need you to lock your arm with me, and I need you to fight this battle with me. I can't do it. I thought that was weak. There's nothing weak about that. Come on. Lap 4, nothing happens. I bet there was fear happening. I bet those enemies on the walls of Jericho were looking down like, man, I wish my commander would tell me to just go ahead and start shooting these people. And the enemy is looking at you now thinking, are you going to listen to what I'm saying, or are you going to do something else? Are you going to look at your phone, or are you going to do something else? Are you actually going to let the Word of God penetrate your heart, or are you going to get distracted? Lap 5. Nothing happens. But I can feel God at this moment talking to the Israelites, saying, keep going. Don't stop. Keep pressing into me. Keep wanting to pursue me. Keep trying to know me. Keep trying to get close to me. But God, that doesn't make sense. Keep going. Your wall, your battle is not done. Keep going. Keep moving. Keep stepping. What was really cool, and I learned this, back in that time when soldiers would go to war, they would drive nails through the bottom of their shoes. And these nails were usually about 6 inches long. And when they would get into battle, they would lock these nails down in the ground. And what happens is you cannot go backwards. You would have to have a tremendous amount of force to push you and bend those nails the opposite direction and then go backwards. Soldiers weren't allowed to go backwards. So many of us want to go backwards. So many of us want to take time away and not do what God tells us to do. Lock your feet in the ground. Lock your feet in. Get ready to fight. Go forward. Keep going. Okay. Lap 6. All right, got it. This is lap 6. I've made eye contact with that enemy every day now. He knows me. He knows I'm weak. He knows I'm scared. God, if you're real, do something. God, if you're real, show me that my life is worth this. God, if you're real, show me that you're true. God, if you're real, come into me, make me know you. God, because I'm weak. Maybe you're feeling like you're weak. Maybe you're feeling like you're on your lap 6 and you don't know what you're fixing to do. But lap 7 is coming. Lap 7 is coming. Let's read 16. And it came to pass at the 7th time, when the priest blew the trumpets, just like God told him. When God tells you to do something, you do it. At the 7th time, the priests blew their trumpets. Joshua said unto the people, shout, for the Lord hath given you the city. Verse 20. So then the people shouted when the priest blew the trumpets. And it came to pass when the people heard the sound of the trumpets. Guys, this is great! When they heard the sound of the trumpets and the people shouted with a great shout, that the walls fell flat to the ground, so that the people went up straight into the city, every man. Guys, the walls fell, just like God says they were. Guys, the walls fell. God says, this happens. If you do this, this is going to happen. God says, if you believe in me, this is going to happen. God says, if you believe in me, you're going to have life and life more abundantly. God says, if you believe in me, you're going to be my child. You're going to be adopted into my family. Some of you don't have moms and dads. And I'm so very sorry that they chose a stupid mistake to miss out on your life. But if you know Jesus, you're adopted. You are a child of the King. Amen. You are worth it to someone. The walls fell. Guys, that's crazy. So when we observe God's word, because God says, hey, you have to know me. You need to know me for your life to change. We're left with a choice. Are you going to be obedient? Are you going to believe? Are you going to be obedient to God? Many of us don't like being obedient because we want to do it our way. God says, no, you need to do it my way. I've got this. Be obedient. Obedience, guys, is key. You want your life to change? You want your wall to fall down? Obedience is what gets you there. Obedience to God's word. But before you can be obedient, you've got to know what this is. You've got to know what's in this book. You have to be in this. Then you can be obedient. Again, I ask you, what's your wall? Counselors, when's the last time you heard God speak to you? Parents, adults, when's the last time you heard God say, this is what you need to do to lead your family on the right path? Oh no, we don't like to pick on the counselors here at camp. That's not cool. Kids, when's the last time you felt the desire to do something randomly, a random act of kindness and show someone the love of God? Kids, what's your wall? Counselors, what's your wall? Are you leading your students but you can't lead yourself? Are you leading your students but your life is in shambles? What lap are you on? Maybe tonight's your night. said, God, you were talking to me. God, I don't know what's next. God, I need something to happen. God, I can't go home the same way. God, I can't go home to my family who every night all I hear is yelling, and I slam my door and I say, God, make the noise stop. What lap are you on? Counselors, husbands, are you leading like we're called to lead? What's your wall? Is your wall maybe trusting enough to know that, hey, you're loved? We're human. We desire to be loved and cared for. You are loved, but maybe your wall is knowing that you are not loved. Is your wall trusting in someone? Maybe trusting that this Bible, the thing that we hold to be so true, is actually real? Maybe your wall's you're mad at God. It's okay. He's big enough to handle it. I've spent many nights having a conversation with God about how mad I am that my life is the way it is. And you know what? Every time he says, you don't know what's next. What lap are you on? What's your wall? In the next few moments, we're going to have an invitation call. What lap are you on? As this invitation call happens, this is your chance for this wall to be kicked down again. Because listen, we can't break down the walls in our life. What's really cool, the walls of Jericho, when they found them, when archaeologists found these walls, they did not fall in. Some of you don't get this. They did not fall in. Inward would mean they were pushed from the outside. They were pushed by a force going this way. No, they fell outward. That means no human did that. God did that. God is the ultimate wall kicker downer, if that's a phrase.
Kicker downer.
God will kick down these walls in your life, guys. What is your wall? As the musicians, the people who play instruments come up to lead us in invitation. What's your wall? What lap are you on? Counselors, set the example. Get on your knees at this altar. Come forward and get right. Let your walls be kicked down. Before this happens, before y'all